Hello everybody, welcome back to another Space Marine 2 video. So let's talk to you guys about what is up and coming in Space Marine 2 1-to-1. So I'd figured, instead of putting gameplay of my face in the corner, I'd just show you guys my ugly mug up close and personal. So what has been going on with the leaks? So as we can see, I'm gonna put an image right here. I'm gonna start editing little images in this lovely empty space of my my Legos and my Star Wars poster and stuff like that. My ghost mask in the corner there. I'm all over the place with the different stuff that I'm into. But Warhammer 40k has been certainly something I'm getting really into. I'm watching a lot of those. It's called Lookin 9. He's a pretty good storyteller, so I'm getting really into his videos. Currently listening about the Grey Knights and how they got founded. It's pretty awesome. So anyway, as I digress, so yeah, the image I put right here is a code found, and it says reach astropath relay. Interesting. So I'm assuming the next operation is going to include an astropath relay, and that could also it could hint towards what the final boss actually is before it turns into what it is. So the next image I've got here is, it says reach engineering deck. Obviously it's the next, obviously it's a phase within the operation, which is pretty interesting. So I hope it's something cool, this operation. It certainly does seem to be a more chaos based operation. But yeah, let's carry on with these pretty interesting leaks. So this is something to do with Horde mode. So I put it'll be a pretty big image. You might have to pause the video and to put your phone right up to your screen like that. Right up to your screen, right up to your eyes. You don't have screens for eyes. That'd be really concerning if you do. But yeah, if you have a really close look, it's something to do with summoning. So at the top is Dreadnought category, summoning a Dreadnought, Horde mode, summon item info. So that, by the sounds of it, we're going to be able to summon AI teammates into Horde mode, which is incredible. It will certainly add to the cinematic feeling of the of like a last stand kind of thing. You see all these AI just dropping and falling, and it would be really cool to see that, and it's like a last stand type of thing. I really do like those kind of game modes where you can just hold your ground and just basically I can't even put it into words how awesome it feels to. It's like every man's dream to go down dying almost. In that way, it would be I say every man. A lot of people have different opinions and stuff like that. So obviously people have different feelings. Excuse me, I'm rather ill. Got a rather sore throat, and hay fever is absolutely killing me. So as you can see, there are a big list of White Scars successor chapters. I'm going to put them right here for you guys. And it is the White Scars. Obviously they're the base chapter. There's the Destroyers, Marauders, Storm Lords, Rampagers, Mantis Warriors, Storm Reapers, Solar Lords, and the Dark Hunters, which I don't know any of these legions. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big White Scar fan. They're certainly a very interesting chapter when it comes to their speed tactics and just basically rush in and beat the crap out of everything. So that's pretty cool. So let's go on to the next image. So the next image is the Season 9 Blood Angels update, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for the Blood Angels. I'm not gonna lie. I've had a sudden turn from the Silver Templars. For those who have been with me since the start of my Warhammer 40k switch over from 0.4 and all that kind of stuff, I had a big infatuation with the Silver Templars, and I still kind of do. Get my little miniature. I did a very bad job at painting him so far, but I'm working on it. I've got loads of I've got a big grey pile of shame, but you know, it is what it is. And yeah, so let's read these names of the chapters that we've got coming into Space Marine 2. So the Angel Sanguine. I've made a video on these guys, funnily enough. I made a chapter customization video, which is absolutely incredible. The Flesh Terrors, they're pretty cool. The Angels Penitent, that's pretty cool. The Lamenters, a lot of people will be happy about that. The Blood Scythes, the Atlantean Spears, the Blood Dragons, and the Flesh Eaters. They're all pretty interesting, slightly scary Blood Angel chapters that can probably really mess you up if you mess with them in the wrong way. So here is another image of the Blood Angels season. It's pretty interesting. It's nothing really crazy. It's obviously season 8. It's White Scars. Missing pattern icon, which is pretty interesting at the bottom, and it says Heresy. Now that's pretty interesting. It makes me think that they're going to try and sneak in some heretical customization in between these seasons. Either that, or we get a whole season of heretical customization. I'm really hoping it's not just champion skins and it is actual customization. Kind of sucks that we've got stuck with the armor that we've got, but it is still pretty cool to see it's pretty much classic armor, mutations, and for example the which class is it? I'm so used to calling it the Blade Guard, but it's actually the Bulwark. My God, the Bulwark of the Heretics is I think it's like Mark 3 mixed with 4. Or is it Mark 2? Not 100% sure. It's all really mixed up, but it looks really, really cool, and I'm really hoping we get that kind of customization. As a normal Astartes, obviously without all the Nurgle funness about it. So yeah, I'm really hoping we do get customization, obviously for the Heretic Astartes, but obviously I'd really, really love more classic armors in the game, but sadly I don't think I've got a feeling deep down in my gut that'll never happen, because Games Workshop are very limiting with Saber Interactive. So yeah, let's go into the next image. So the next image is obviously more code. I know this isn't really exciting, but it is pretty telling of what we're getting in the new operation. Chaos Beast, interesting. Chaos Crab, Chaos Tentacle, and the last boss, which I'll show an image on in a minute. My God, my throat is absolutely killing me. I probably shouldn't have recorded this video whilst being slightly sick, but I just figured I'd get the content out for you guys, because I've not really been uploading as much as I used to. I used to try and do it every day. I think I might start doing every other day, so then I can actually have some downtime and some planning for each video. I don't really have much free time due to work and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, the image should be right here as I'm blabbering on about all my life crap. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to the next image. So this is gonna be the start of the well, a new class, which is pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited about it, and it's well, a shoulder gun slot. What does that make you think of? A Tech Marine, which is pretty interesting. They've got shoulder mounted guns. Well, it's not really shoulder mounted, it's more like a big robotic arm that's hovering next to their shoulder, but let's call it shoulder mounted, eh? It sounds really cool. I'm pretty excited. Does that mean we get to make like deployable weapons, deployable turrets even, for the Horde mod? I think if a class comes out with the Horde mod, like the Tech Marine for example, it would very much improve the Horde mod, because it adds this extra class that's like integrated with the Horde mod, and obviously it has, well, obviously the defensive capabilities of actually having a successful defense in Horde mode. I'm hoping they have like an unlimited Horde mode, but I highly doubt it. I doubt there'll be. I believe there'll be a cap for the Horde mode and objectives around the map and stuff like that. But yeah, let's get on to the next image, shall we? So this is another thing. It's an equipment slot. Power plant backpack, which is pretty interesting. Not sure what that's meant to be. Maybe it's another tech marine item. Maybe it's a operation item. Not 100% sure, but it does have the the shoulder gun slot just above it. So I'm assuming it's another part of that code. So it's pretty interesting. But I'm certainly excited to see what's to come of these simple bits of code that we're finding in the game. So this is pretty interesting. So it shows different variations of this said shoulder-mounted gun. A rifle, heavy bolt rifle, mounted forged bolter, which is pretty interesting. Bolter bullet, obviously, it's just a bullet. And it obviously does the damage, which is pretty interesting. You get a multiplier and everything. It shows what kind of, maybe we'll be able to change the weapon on the shoulder, which would be really awesome. For example, if we wanted a heavy bolt rifle instead of just like a normal bolt rifle, maybe we can. Maybe we'll slap a melter rifle on there. You never know what kind of stuff that they're going to add, allow us to use, and I'm certainly excited to see what this class has to offer. So yeah, let's get into the. I feel like I keep going saying, let's get to the next image. I'm just going to keep going. So this next bit is pretty interesting. PvP Dreadnought Assault. So that's pretty interesting. Potential new game mode for PvP. It sounds like an escort type thing where you've got to escort a dreadnought through a battlefield, and well, hopefully you get to like somewhat pilot the dreadnought. Maybe a game mode where basically each team hunts down the dreadnought, or it's almost like an operation where one team has to get to one side to the other, which would be really cool. But obviously you've got to try and think of stuff that might build up hype, but obviously you've got to try and keep yourself a bit grounded, because it might just be a simple case of escorting a dreadnought around one of the multiplayer maps, which might kind of suck. But we'll see how it goes, and we'll see what happens with this. Well, obviously a new game mode for PvP, which is big news for those PvP enjoyers. I'm not really a big enjoyer of it, but I have spent plenty of time on there. So yeah, let's check out the next one. So this is the big bad finale. So this right here is the new boss. Now it looks kind of crazy with the hoofs, the crab claw. It's literally got like four or five arms? I'm not 100% sure. The big demonic horns, and like the well, I'm guessing that bit on the back is probably where the main weak point is. Maybe they can make a big glowing orb where you've got to shoot it in the back whilst your teammates are distracting it or something. It's a crazy concept. Maybe it's that, but yeah, it looks just absolutely crazy. Obviously it's untextured and it's very low res, but usually when they put these kind of models in the game, we're going to get them in the next patch or two. Not next patch, next major update. And well, this happened with the was it the Bio Titan, the Hierophant, is it called? I'm not 100% sure, but the Hive Tyrant, and that was found in the game literally say 2 updates before it actually got introduced, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, that is about it for the leaks. However, I've got one more little thing to talk about, and that is the huge support for modding in Space Marine 2. So I'm probably going to try and squeeze this on with like 2 different screenshots, because he's put a pretty big, pretty lengthy announcement on his major Discord. His main Discord has Warhammer Workshop, and well, they've done it again. They've Saber and Warhammer Workshop's team are in full collaboration, and honestly, the fact that Saber are being so open and welcoming to mods is just something incredible. They could have been like other companies where they're like, oh hell no, let's not do that, let's not add mods, but they recognised that modding scene for Space Marine 1 was so huge. They are in full support of the Space Marine 2 modding community, and it's pretty incredible. So I'm just going to read it for you guys. It says, "Hey everyone, massive news from the front lines of development, and it's all thanks to Saber Interactive. Patch 7.1 brings one of the biggest leaps forward in Space Marine 2 modding so far. The team at Saber has gone above and beyond to support us, expanding critical enums and adding empty classes based on what we specifically asked for. This kind of collaboration is rare, and it's something we should celebrate. We certainly should, because this is a huge thing for the Astartes mod. They've been working with the 3 core classes from the campaign, Titus, Gadriel, and Chiron, and using them as just almost like extra classes, as a chapter master, as a chaplain, and as an apothecary, which is huge. Certainly is something even better, because we now have empty classes and they can make their own abilities, I'm assuming, which is incredible, especially for the mod scene. So let's just see what they've added. So they've added a new little section for the primary weapons. So you basically make your own firearms, I think, in the game, which is this is incredible. They've added potential to add your own custom melee weapons, which again is awesome, because he's been working with just the, obviously he has to still use the animations from in-game. Sadly, we can't change anything about that, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, he could manipulate the animations in a certain way to make them look slightly different to other weapons, for example. But you know, it's something that he could work on, and you know, it's him and his team are really good at. You know, Warhammer Workshop is incredible, and the fact that Saber are going out of their way to fully support this in every shape or form. So yeah, he's put another little thing here. It says, important reminder, none of this will be possible without Saber Interactive's direct support for modding. We are not hacking our way into this, we are building with the systems they've enabled that deserves serious recognition. Yeah, it does. If it wasn't for Saber and their full support of modding, we would not have this level of modding. It would certainly be a lot harder and a lot more difficult in the sense of adding these extra classes. In fact, I don't think it would be actually possible at all, which is absolutely incredible. Am I recording? My god, just double checking, because I've had a few moments where I've had like coughing fits and I've had to pause my recording real quick, but I'm really glad that I'm recording. Otherwise that would have been really awkward. But yeah, he's put another little thing here. If you see information or negativity about Saber on Reddit, YouTube, or any of the social medias, please speak up. Let people know that the only reason Space Marine 2 has a modding scene this strong is because Saber made it possible. Modding isn't a feature in most modern games, but Saber has chose to support it, and that is huge. Looking ahead, they're looking to improve. They're looking to increase the player count limit fix. Obviously not in 7.1, but still in the works of future patch. So this is huge for modding in Space Marine 2. It's finally happened, and it's just I'm blown away with the amount of support that Saber has given Warhammer Workshop and his team. Obviously Warhammer Workshop isn't alone. He's also working with other he's probably, I think he has his own little workshops where he shows people how to add mods and models into the game, which is pretty incredible. He's going above and beyond, and he deserves all the support that he's been getting. And I certainly I'm very appreciative of Warhammer Workshop, because his mod got me a little bit of attention, not much, but it got me a fair bit of attention, and I just really appreciate it. So yeah, that is about it for this video, guys. If you did like this video, please leave a like. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike, leave a comment on what you think about what is going on with Space Marine 2, and if you want to keep up to date on everything that I do, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.